Every terminal customization video I have seen turns into a whole rabble of Windows sucks or Linux is better type of argument. And I don't care which operating system is better. We have two ugly terminals. We are going to be fixing both, and that is it. You might ask, what's the point of customizing terminals? Isn't that just boring stuff that programmers do? Well, no, it isn't just a looks thing. Like, obviously, it looks better, but it actually matters functionality-wise too. Icons in your file listings means you can tell what's a folder version versus a script versus a config file at a glance instead of reading every line. And even better yet, it allows you to completely customize your PC to how you want. And just to note, I'm also doing all this on VM, and this is generally recommended best practice, and I suggest you do the same, especially if you're new to messing around with dot files and configs. It's way less annoying than breaking your real setup over a terminal prompt. And if you're following along on Windows, make sure you got PowerShell 7, not the previous version. The packages we install on this video are both applicable to Windows and Linux. Microsoft has been a whole lot more supportive of using Linux software to help you supercharge your workflow, and I'll guide you through both. The links will be pasted down in the description. With that being said, let's start with Windows. PowerShell itself is fine, honestly. It's the prompt that is the problem. Just a quick heads up before we start, you'll need a type of font installed. Specifically something like Nerd font. Regular fonts don't have the icon glyphs built in, so without one of these, you're going to get broken boxes instead of actual symbols. So without further ado, the first thing we'll be installing is JetBrains Mono Nerd font. Once you click the link, you'll be escorted to the Nerd Fonts website. So click on Fonts Downloads and scroll down to the letter J for JetBrains Mono Nerd font. This is what we're going to be using. We simply download this. You open it, right click, extract all. Just take a second. And then we Control A or highlight, right click, and install for all users. I've already installed it, so that's why it disappears. But this should work for you first time. Cool, that is step 1. That's all the prerequisites we need. We move on to customizing our terminal now. We'll be using the Ultimate Win 11 setup by GitHub user SleepyCatHey. Also has a really cracking YouTube channel. So we scroll down, click Terminal, and click Settings.json. We open our terminal, which is also PowerShell. Press the little arrow down. We click Settings. And then we open JSON file. We will delete the contents of the setting.json file. Don't worry if it breaks, because it will just revert to its default settings. Highlight and press delete by Control A and delete. Then we'll go to the settings.json file. We will copy the raw file and paste. You will then save the contents and just save again, just to be absolutely certain the changes are permanently made. And then you open a new terminal and boom, you'll get a really nice purple gradient. Brilliant. The next program is called fastfetch. It's a brilliant tool for displaying all the information that you'd need that appends straight into the terminal. And it's universally compatible with so many systems, Linux and Windows as well. Be careful and don't install anything called NeoFetch. It has been known to have a lot of security issues, and the last thing I want you to do is break your system because of misinformation. So fastfetch, not NeoFetch. And if we go down to the frequently asked questions, that even tells you why would we use fastfetch over NeoFetch. So we want to scroll to the installation section. So under the Windows subtitle, and from there we will be using the winget variation. Each of these are just individual packet launchers. Winget is probably the most common, so we'll be using that just for maximum compatibility. So here we are. We're going to copy this line, winget install fastfetch. I've already installed fastfetch, so hence why it's saying found an existing package that's already installed. So you close your terminal, open a new terminal, type in fastfetch.exe, and there you have it. It was one command, one solution, easy. So now it's time to move on to the final package for this Windows section of the video. We're going to be installing a new terminal extension called Oh My Posh. So you'll just type in Oh My Posh, as you can see, it will usually be the first result. And here we can customize the prompt engine for any shell, not just Windows, but for Linux and everything therein. We want to go to Get Started, Installation, Windows, and scroll down. As you can see here, we copy and paste the winget install command. As you can see, once again, an existing package has been found on my system as I've already installed it. Now, we need to configure our shell. So you see here, optional configure a theme, click the very link, and you'll see this command here underneath the configuration. We copy and paste this command. It should init our shell. Brilliant. That's 3 out of 3. So you have now officially everything you would need to start spicing up your Windows section. Obviously, we don't want to keep re-inputting that very same command every time we open up the terminal. We need to make the command permanent and readable through a file. This is what we're going to do in the terminal. We're going to put the command notepad $ profile in full capital letters. Press enter. You'll see a blank notepad file. Then we want to copy and paste the command that we would initialize the Oh My Posh shell. Copy and paste, save and close. And then we need to close the terminal and reopen it. It should, from that point onwards, apply permanently until you decide to remove the command. Excellent. And to top it all off, there are several dozen themes you can pick from the Oh My Posh themes tab. Like for one, there's this one here which I particularly enjoy, Atomic. From that point onward, for you Windows users, this concludes this section. If you want to stick around the Linux section, be my guest. Otherwise, you can close the video here and then on out. Now onto the Linux side. Okay guys, welcome to the Linux section of this video. If you're coming from the Windows side, welcome back. And as for you Linux users, don't worry about the packages. They're not specific for Windows or any other Linux distro in particular. There's only one exception to one of the packages, which we will get into a little bit. Now for the Linux section, we'll be using CurrentUser. It's an Arch-based distro, but with less headaches. Your installation may change depending on the distro that you're running. Okay, let's get into it. We'll need the exact same fonts that we installed on Windows. The links will again be posted on the description. We'll need to go to Nerd Fonts and click download. So we'll scroll down to JetBrains Mono Nerd Font. For Linux, it's a little different than on Windows. Your distro may have it installed, but if any case that it isn't, then you need to put in this command here for JetBrains Mono Nerd Font, and you should be good to go. Brilliant. So now we move on to fastfetch, exactly like Windows, but for you Linux guys, you have an entire sandbox to play with, and every distro I've seen is available here, and it tells you what packaging status is available. Obviously, I'm using an Arch-based distro, so I will use the Pacman package manager to install this. Don't forget to sudo, like I forgot to, like an idiot, and type in your password to your distro. Some distros may have this installed already. If that's the case, you can actually skip this section, but this is just to make sure everyone's on the same level. So why do we want to install fastfetch? It shows you your system in a very lightweight way, and the beauty about it is you can customize the logo to be how you want, and then you just type in fastfetch and you're good to go. Once again, I need to stress the fact that you need to be installing fastfetch. You may hear previous package called NeoFetch. Do not, under any circumstances, install NeoFetch. You might say NeoFetch is good enough. Why do I need fastfetch? Because NeoFetch is not actively maintained. Fastfetch is. And I don't want you to lose your entire system or your credentials or anything along those lines to misinformation. So fastfetch, not NeoFetch. So this is where the Windows and Linux sections will diverge. I will want to say this, depending on your terminal, the instructions may change. We will be using Alacritty, as I find this terminal very lightweight and very easy to install extra packages to append on. For Windows, you had an ultimate Windows 11 terminal theme, pre-built and pre-configured for you, but for Linux, it's a bit more grey in the middle. We'll be using Capuchin, and this is a great way to spice up your terminal, and you have several different versions that you can just drop in, drop out, depending on the command that you use. So you have latte, frappe, macchiato, and mocha. So as it says in the instructions, we'll need to install one of these. For example, I'm going to be using frappe and latte just to show you can interchange between them seamlessly. So we'll start with frappe. I will copy the command. It's going to be using a curl, and it will install a file for you. Then we need to change the directory into .config, where your config file is for Alacritty. And you can use any text manager you want, but in this case, I'll be using Vim, as it was pre-packaged installed on CurrentUser, and I'm familiar with Vim. So we'll go into the Alacritty config file, or TOML. And as you can see, we have a lot of functions, but that's not really important right now. If you press LS, you can see where the files are installed as well. As you can see, I have both installed. I added latte in an earlier test, so that's there, but you can just copy and paste the command, no problem. So the next thing is we need to import the desired flavor, as they call it here. Import the desired flavor config into your Alacritty TOML. So this is something you need to watch out for, because the way the file structure is a bit wrong. This is how you should do it at the time of this video. So right click and copy your particular flavor. Go into your text editor, and as you can see here at the very top, we've got general, Instead of doing what it says on Capuchin, we're going to do this. Import equals, and then copy and paste the particular config direction you want, and put square brackets, otherwise you'll get an error. Save and quit, and boom, the latte theme has been applied. And if you want to change it from latte to frappe, then make sure that you have the corresponding file and just retype the name of the file, so frappe.toml, and then boom, save and quit, bada boom. It's that easy. One thing you do need to watch out, however, if you're using a pre-built desktop environment that has Alacritty installed, you may find in the config files there's some extra colorings that will overwrite the Capuchin theming set. You will need to delete those. I have a screenshot here showing exactly what I mean, so you need to be absolutely careful like that, and this is one of the reasons why we were even doing it in the VM. And lastly, but not least, like with Windows, we're going to move into the shell, Oh My Posh. It's a customizable prompt engine you can use for any shell, doesn't matter what it is. So let's begin. We're not going to install from the command here. We're going to go to Get Started, Installation, Linux, and then you see here, install the latest version for your system. We are going to copy that to clipboard, and then we're going to output that. Now, again, this all depends on your shell. I'm using fish. If you're using bash, your instruction commands may vary, and I can link you how you would do that in the description below. So if you're using fish, go back to your main base file directories, and then you want to cd.config fish config.fish and put in this command here, oh my posh init fish config -tilde theme.omp.json type source. It will automatically apply when you close and reopen Alacritty. And like in Windows, you can customize all the theming to your heart's content. At this point, that is where I'll leave you for this video. Hello, future me here. I made a slight boo-boo, a slight error. You'll probably have noticed that the shell itself says config not found. I apologize for this, but we forgot to add one more command that links the specific GitHub value to this. I don't want to leave you guys an unfinished product, so here we go. Here's the fix. We're going to type the kel command, which will be in the description. We enter, and it will download automatically. And then you'll go back to config fish config.fish, and we will add the command as per usual that I originally mentioned, and you're good to go. Reset your Alacritty, and that's it. Thanks. You now have a very rudimentary but solid base to go forward and explore to your own content, and that's how you get good at anything. This is one of the best ways to get into Linux and to get your feet wet without overcommitting to one side. Now go and show me what you've got.